Hola, amiga. Welcome to the Latina Leadership Podcast, a podcast by Latinas for all women. Get ready because today's conversation is really special. Hola, amigas. Welcome to a new episode of the Latina Leadership Podcast. I'm your co-host, Andrea Diaz, and I'm here with my wonderful guest. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, everybody. My name is Molina Kabba. I am the founder of Alyst Dating, a new dating app targeted towards minority professionals. And so hoping to change the landscape for us who are out there dating. And yeah.
So, Ashley, let's start at the beginning. What inspired your leap into entrepreneurship and how did that evolve into building Alyst?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've been kind of a serial entrepreneur my whole life. I started with like a small business of helping people kind of organize their closets. And then a few years back, I created my very first app called Etiquette. It was kind of like a shoppable Instagram. I've been in education for a long time in terms of classes I've taken. So I have my bachelor's, my master's in business. And once I kind of kept going in the business world, I just wanted to keep going and try to create a successful business, but I wanted to do something meaningful. And so I stopped doing entrepreneurship for a little bit and kind of just focused on the corporate world. I'm a product designer by day, so I design apps and websites. And once I saw people like myself struggle on dating apps, I really felt like there was something there. And I interviewed like 25 people, and sure enough, there's just a cultural gap right now in the dating industry, and kind of just went for it with Alyst and did a lot of research and then finally launched the app last year.
Awesome. So, how did your personal experiences as a Latina shape your vision for Alyst?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is cultural, right? Like we grow up with a certain mentality. I know a lot of us are pushed to be in relationships. When are we having kids? I definitely experienced a lot of that. And I got engaged early for that reason, and ended up calling off the wedding because I felt like the societal push in our community, right, to get married and have kids. But also what I realized is I had like gone on dating apps a lot, and I would delete them, come back to them and delete them and wonder like, why can't I find kind of the connection I'm looking for? And I just realized there's just a lot of cultural differences, right? With people you date. And I mean, it happens everywhere. But I think I was looking for something a little bit more serious. And I feel like a lot of people out there are looking for something serious, but some of the dating apps that have existed do not help kind of create those matches for you and guide you. Sometimes you don't even have to fill out one of those questionnaires. You just upload your photo, put what city and age, and you're on it and you match with people, right? But they're not real. So I think what I took from kind of my background is like, I wanted something real. I wanted something intentional. And I learned in the interviews that I did that a lot of women and men wanted this, that were of different backgrounds, and a lot of them were minorities and want kind of these real connections. And so when I created Alyst, I actually figured out like, what do people want? People wanted to know like non-negotiables, right? Whether that's religion, political party, right, which is big right now. People care about that stuff, and people want to be able to weed that out up front and not just match with someone random who doesn't have any of their similar beliefs or values. And so in our product, we actually require kind of a full onboarding of questions. We require you to put in your non-negotiables. You're required to prove your facial verification, which, I mean, I haven't been on dating apps in a while. I do a lot of research still, but I am happily married now. But I know in the past, like, facial verification wasn't required. Again, the questionnaires weren't required. And so I think just having kind of that background of wanting something real, I found that to be true for a lot of minorities.
No, I love that, especially you talk about like, yeah, most of the dating apps, at least from what I've seen, like the more popular ones, it's more for casual stuff. And I know a lot of people are looking for more serious stuff. So I like that you're addressing that. Also like the facial recognition too, there's been a lot, the rise of AI and the rise of like catfishing. So I'm glad that there's also that safety precaution in there as well, because I know people they'll feel more secure using the app knowing that facial recognition is being used as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's a good point that you talk about too, safety, right? Like a lot of these apps, they don't highlight safety, they don't talk about safety, and safety in dating is huge, right? I mean, you're essentially meeting people that you don't know a lot about. And so like A-List is actually trying to put safety kind of at the forefront and not making this it like an ambiguous topic. Like it's serious, it's real. We have a list of safety dating tips on our website that actually help people like, hey, if you're going on a date, these are the things to look out for. Meet in person. Don't, right? Like things that sound basic, but people will kind of like let them kind of slip because they'll have such a good conversation with someone and be like, oh, I can go to their house right away. And it's like, no, there are things that you should look out for that will help with some of these things that can be scary, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, facial verification is the first step.
No, I love that it has steps too, because it's actually been a problem with the younger generation where they don't know the dating etiquette, and they're a little too confident in like doing and going on in dates, but sometimes you also have to take consideration those steps for for safety
Yes,
to consider.
absolutely. Absolutely. Because I mean, it can be scary, right? It's
Mhm.
just you don't know what to expect. You don't know these people, and you have to do your due diligence to make sure that you're at least giving yourself a chance to like be in a safer environment.
Yeah. So I noticed you worked in both tech and entertainment. So how did those industries prepare you for or challenge you as a startup founder?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say tech has played the biggest role in this for me. As I mentioned, I have my master's in business. And when I came out of there, I went to a program at UCLA to get my UX certificate. And that was to start kind of the process of designing apps and designing websites. And I've been doing that for 8 years now. And I've worked for like Wayfair and Tile, big tech companies. Um, and I think every job has prepared me in a different way, just different experiences. I mean, I've designed logistics technologies, so things for like dropping off furniture. And then I've designed consumer facing products. And now I manage a team, so I'm at a director level. And I think in all positions, it's kind of just helped me make sure that I'm building the right technology, right? Like I know what it takes to test technology to make sure that it's ready for consumers to use. I think that's like one of my biggest advantages, honestly, is being in this world because I know a lot of people have a lot of ideas and want to execute them. And, they think they're putting out an app that works really well, but they don't really have the knowledge base or even the know-how to like make sure you research it and make sure you're saying like, hey, is this what users want? Do users really want a button here or those types of things? So and they matter, right? So I think that's been my biggest advantage. I think the entertainment industry, honestly, it's the size of the company. Working for Live Nation, it's a huge company, and so knowing how to kind of create a consumer product that we have 12 million users on our app. And so, again, just being able to create that type of technology that can adhere to a large audience. And you have to be able to launch product that works for the masses, right? And it's not going to break. So I think those are all crucial things that have kind of helped me create a product that hopefully is designed to work for the masses.
No, I love that. It's like a perfect combo unintentionally. Like it works really well together.
Yeah.
Uh, so I noted, what was the moment you knew A-list needed to exist?
Um, I think it's just when I started research. So I set out a survey to about 25 people before I even started designing. It was really just a hypothesis like, okay, if I felt like this was needed, because I think I spent, I want to say almost 6 years downloading and deleting dating apps, right? Before I found someone. But and in my head, I was like, why is it taking so long? Like there's gotta be a better way, right? Than just finding random people going on one day and being like, that wasn't a match for me. And so I interviewed the 25 people and I asked questions that was like, hey, are you finding quality people? Do you feel like the apps are diverse enough? Like, is your pool diverse? I asked, on a scale of 1 to 10, like, what would you recommend the current apps that exist? And a lot of them were like, I've heard of people matching and like having real dates, but like for me, it didn't work. And I'd say there were maybe like out of the 25, 2 to 3 people that actually went on like some pretty solid dates. And I'm like, that's kind of low, right? 3 out of 25 people who said that they wouldn't really recommend them. And almost every single one of them deleted the app, right? And and then came back to it eventually. But yeah, and so seeing that information, that was kind of my like, okay, this app needs to exist. And then once I started getting out there, I've been to just some, local business fairs and stuff where I talk about the app and I pass out cards. And people, the amount of times someone's been like, where was this when I was dating? Is like my favorite thing that people say, like, oh my gosh, I wish this existed when I was dating, right? Or I'll get like, what's the age range? Is this for older people, right? You get kind of all these things where people are like, why hasn't this existed? And so I think that was kind of it, just talking to people and then realizing like, and anytime I talk about it now and I talk to even like vendors who want to work with A-list, I kind of tell them a little bit about the business and they're just like, wow, yeah, that's a great idea, right? Like, so I'm excited about it.
And as a product designer, like what values and features were non-negotiable for you to include in A-list?
Yeah, just that word that you said, non-negotiables. I think a play on words without meaning to, but that was lacking. I had been on Bumble, Tinder, Hinge, and all of the onboarding just felt very similar, right? You're asked about your name, your age, the height and the weight, or like all those
Yes.
things or whatever. And I think what I was missing was like, what are those non-negotiables? Like people have them, whether they want. I find it funny that on our app, I'm testing on there. Like I said, I'm not dating, but I go on and test and I can see people's profiles, and it's interesting to see like a lot of men will say they don't have non-negotiables, which I think is super interesting. Because I think they do, but I think they're trying to widen their pool, and so they don't want to limit themselves. But I think it's really healthy to have non-negotiables because they exist. Like having kids, right? Some people want kids. You must want kids, or having dogs. Like there are some people who are just allergic and just can't be around them. And that might be a make or break for someone's relationship, or the fact that someone already has kids. Someone might
Yeah.
not want that, right? And again, the religion, the political party, like these are big, important topics that, we don't talk about until later on down the road in a lot of these conversations when we talk to people because we're scared to
Yeah.
have these conversations up front. But I think it helps a lot with the weeding of like, if you're truly intentional about dating, like these should be easy conversations. I want kids, I'm Christian and I truly believe in my faith and I want someone who's Christian, right? Like you should be able to have those conversations.
Yeah, I love that, especially for me too. I'm like one of those people who also like have non-negotiables and always upfront with a date when it comes to that. Because it's like I feel like you have to be upfront because if you're not gonna be honest in the beginning, there's not gonna be any honesty being built up in the relationship at all.
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. So how do you balance innovation with the emotional and cultural needs of users, especially, women of color?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that so one of the things that I do in my marketing that has kind of gotten me in trouble a little bit is I actually call out like the dating app for minority professionals, right? I use the word minority. People have kind of given me a hard time about it. Um, but I truly mean it. Like I don't want to capture everybody. That's not what I'm here for. There's a lot of dating apps out there, right? Like everyone can go on every platform. And I actually, like in my marketing, I only use people of color, women of color, men of color in different types of, I support the LGBTQ community. And so, like, showing all the different facets of relationships and just really focusing on people of color, I think is so important because if actually one of the other reasons that I kind of started this, it's funny to see the progression, but when I started the research for this I would say about 4 years ago, I actually started the research. I have screenshots of the app store of like Bumble, Hinge, I think Match, and some of the other dating apps, and it's predominantly white people
Yeah.
in the marketing, right? And you'll get the token black guy or the black woman. And over time, with everything that's happened, right, people have started being a little bit more mindful. But again, it's token, it's one or two, and the main characters are generally white females and white men. And so, what I've done is really focused my marketing on people of color, at the forefront. And in the in my website, in the FAQs, it actually says like, do you have to be a person of color to join the app? And the answer is no. Like, we're accepting of everybody, but what we're trying to do is really put us at the forefront, because the other thing is this industry, a lot of people don't know this, it's dominated by white men. The people who created these products, like the creator of Hinge is a white male, the creator of Match.com is a white male, the creator of Tinder is two males, and then there's two strong female players, and that's Bumble and The League. But again, they're white women, so there's really no cultural perspective in this industry. And I think that's what I'm trying to bring, and I'm trying to prove that there's a space for everybody, but like this is our space.
Yeah, I love that you're putting us in the forefront too, because that's one thing I've also noticed too. Like a lot of it's not really, tailored to minorities at all. And it's always minorities too, like us in our culture too, that have those non-negotiables who are looking for more those specific like people that you can't really find that easily in dating apps. So
Exactly. I always laughed because on Bumble particularly, I would go through like 100 profiles before I would even swipe right on one, because I'm like, this literally doesn't match what I'm looking for. How are these people being surfaced to me? And and a lot of these products say they use like AI and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't, maybe your algorithms just didn't work for me. I know people have met on various apps, so I'm not knocking it. I know it works, which is why I'm
yeah.
still running with a product that is a dating app. But it's just, again, how can we tailor it to our community who can find people who are like-minded and intentional about dating?
Yeah. So Alyst is now in 120 countries, so congratulations in that. So what did growth look like in those early stages, especially launching in major hubs like California and New York?
Yeah, it was not easy, and it's still hard. Like, I think right now I kind of spent a lot of my marketing money on like search ads. Our predominant user, I'd say, is on iOS, although we do have an Android app as well. But we did do a lot of marketing on like search ads and people who are looking for dating apps and dating for minorities, kind of using some of those key terms. And we were lucky in the sense that I think because LA and New York are so diverse, right? Those are kind of melting pots. We picked up really fast there. Like it was like, 500 users in one hub in New York, and then Southern California and Northern California. California as a whole already has thousands of users. And so, um, yeah, I think it was just a natural progression. I think it's a word of mouth thing, right? Like if you find
Yeah.
something that you feel like is more geared towards what you're looking for. And then the other big piece of the app to kind of play on the professional side of things is we use LinkedIn as the form of sign in to really drive kind of that like that goal setting for yourself. Like I want to achieve like an intentional relationship and playing into that professional minority. You don't have to have LinkedIn. You can log in with your, Apple sign in or whatever, but it does give a little bit of that feel of like, okay, this is someone who's career oriented and really intentional about where their life is going. And so there's actually no other app that uses LinkedIn in that sense, in terms of like being career driven. The league has a LinkedIn sign in, but it's just kind of another sign in method where ours is very much like that is the prominent sign in method that we want users to sign in with. And we actually badge users' profiles with like the LinkedIn icon. And you can see who has actually signed in with LinkedIn.
Hola, amigas. So quick before we keep going, I'm literally sitting right outside the Georgia Brown Convention Center where the 2025 Latina Entrepreneurship Conference is happening right here on September 20th. So yes, mark that down. This is built by Latinas, made for all women, and it's going to be full of heart, ambition, and real talk. You can expect powerful panels that inspire, hands-on workshops that empower, and unforgettable charla sessions where you can truly connect, share your journey, and grow alongside other mujeres who understand what it means to chase big dreams. So grab your comadres, get your tickets, and come to a space that's made for you. Now let's keep going with that episode.
I like that. That's actually wow. Like you would think that there'd be more that would use LinkedIn, especially, there's been a lot of, career-oriented people who are looking to date, but it's just really hard. And, as career-oriented people. So that's fascinating. I love that y'all are using that as the main signage way. So
Yeah, I actually thought I was going to find more in my research that a lot of people use it. But what we learned was LinkedIn sign-in is a little bit limited, so you don't get a lot of data about the user as you would if you did a Google sign-in or, a Meta sign-in. But I'm not really there to collect users' data because I don't care about that. I truly am here to help people find, a match. So for the longest time, we actually didn't even collect emails or anything. I do no type of, spam marketing to anybody. It's really just we want you to find your person, and that's really it.
I love that. So have you, just to go more into, being a Latina in tech, has there been any challenges? Could you share one of those moments and how you moved through it?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite stories because it really is just amazing the way it played out. But anyways, so I worked on the product for I did about 2 years of development. I spent 1 year researching, 2 years of development. And I designed the app from start to finish myself and hired a team to code it. And early last year, we were ready to go. We were like, okay, we're going to launch the app, right? So submitted it to Android. Everything went smoothly, got into the Google Play Store, submitted it to Apple, and they were like, we're rejecting your app because you're basically just another dating app.
No.
Chris, what are you talking about? I just spent 2 years on the. I was almost in tears when I heard that because I was just this is Apple telling me that my product cannot exist. How do I even combat this? Right? I was oh my gosh. I was okay. So kind of calm down for a second. And I was okay, how do I appeal this? Or how do I talk to someone who can kind of help me get over this hurdle? Is there really just no way to get my app in the app store? And so they said, okay, you can appeal it online. So I appealed it and kind of just was these are the key differentiators. Nobody does this, XYZ, really just trying to plead my case why this app is different, right? And so they opened the case. And they assigned me someone who was kind of on the board. And I guess if your app gets rejected and you appeal it, they have a board, a bunch of board members who will meet every week to talk about the apps that got rejected and the ones that got appealed. And they try to push them forward for you. They try to get as much information from you to try to plead your case essentially. And then the board votes and they decide if your app goes through. So there was no guarantee even going through this process, right? I was just I got to push. And so I spoke to him. He went to the board and the board was no, you're not different enough.
No.
And I was just what? So he came back around. I said, look, you have all of these apps that are owned by white men and white women. I said, there is one app and that's Chispa, which is for Latinos.
Yeah.
That is owned by female Latina. And then there is like minorities here and there. I said, this feels a little discriminating. And I hate to use that word,
Yes.
but I am producing a product meant for minorities, and this platform does not exist. And he took it back, and sure enough, he came back with the approval.
Let's go.
No, there's no way, right? Like I was like, they don't want to play with me right now because I'm going down a path they don't want.
Yeah, because that's so messed up. It's like I'm here as a minority and there's like not many platforms like this, but oh, all these other dating apps that are so similar are get the pass, but I don't. Like
Yeah, exactly. And we were so different. Like I said, nobody had the LinkedIn as like their primary form of sign in. And then our app also like on these dating apps, I don't know if you've ever used them, but you know, when you sign in, then you're just like surfaced one user at a time, and then you end up having to swipe right or left, right? So we actually give the users a dashboard and we show them users who are compatible, and we tell you why. We tell you like your profile is 80 to 89% compatible with these users. We tell you these people match your non-negotiables. We even do like a zodiac compatibility. And we show people exactly why they matched, and you know why this person is in has surfaced as a match to you, and nobody else has really done that. I know Hinge will do like a match of the day type thing. But I give users a little more insight into like why they're matching with these people. And just we do rating. We don't do swipe right or left. You get to rate a user 1 to 5, and anybody who rates each other a 4 or 5 are top rated matches, and they'll come to the front of the line for in terms of like who you message. So again, really focusing on people who are some of that like top compatibility type matching, and trying to like surface them to the forefront so that they can actually like try to have a relationship.
I love that. It's yeah, like there's so much you're doing that's kind of more than you would get from other dating apps. So I love that y'all are doing that because you don't really see that much. That's not so surprised. Why? Would they?
Yeah,
But I'm glad that that approved.
like I thought it was gonna be like self-explanatory like this.
Yeah.
I know there's dating apps, and actually like when I talk to like investors and stuff, I actually talk about that. Like, yeah, it does seem like a very saturated industry. I'm not gonna lie. If you look at dating as a whole, there's a lot of new dating apps. But when you actually like look at them and you say, okay, these apps are for the masses. This is a younger generation. This one's for an older generation. And then there's like niche apps like Chispa or Black People Meet that are towards very specific races. But if you look at it as a whole, like there is not a dating app for minorities, like as a group. And I think that's where we just truly like differentiate ourselves.
I love that. So, what has your experience been like navigating funding, credibility, and leadership as a Latina founder in spaces that often lack diversity, as we've seen in the dating industry?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I was lucky in the sense that I was able to fundraise through friends and family up front, you know, a lot of people who believed in me. And that's how we got the app out and some of the initial marketing. But I'm on the journey still. You know, I just got accepted into an accelerator program at Rutgers Business School. So I just started that this week, and we're going to be pitching at the end of the month um, to investors. And yeah, I think it makes me stronger, you know, being able to be amongst a variety of people, being Latina and a female in tech is really an advantage. And being able to say, like, I designed this app, I did the product management for this app without a team, right? Like, I think that shows a lot to my character and like what I'm willing to continue to do for the business. And so I think it really is an advantage being in this space, but it's not easy. And I think that it does require me to go out there and get it myself, and keep going. Like, I don't think I'm going to be one of those lucky people who just like gets handed $1 million, right? Like, because for whatever reason, like, I think I'm just going to have to like go out there and be able to speak to the business and the decisions that I've made. And people are going to be like, oh, wow, you know, this is a female Latina who's been in this space and really knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, congratulations. I send you the best of vibes for that. Like, 'cause I know it's hard. So how do you handle the imposter syndrome? Because I know that's gonna come up, or being the only one in the room.
Yeah, I think early on in my career, right? I've been doing this for 8 years in terms of being in tech. So early on, I I even like the first job I landed as a product designer, I was like, how did I get this job? Like, I've only been doing this for, I didn't have any real experience. I had like a portfolio that I had made out of like classwork. I was just like, do I belong here? Like, I went to Arizona for the job just because I was a junior designer and I was like, where can I just get my foot in the door first? And so I went to Arizona for a year. And then I was recruited by Wayfair, and I was just like, Wayfair is a huge company. Like, again, how did I get here? And they like flew me out for an interview to Boston, and like put me up in a hotel. And I got that job offer, and I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm doing something right. Like, something's working for me. And I think it's um like, you just have to know that like, I know it's a like weird saying, but I just feel like me being more confident in myself every step of the way has helped me realize like I belong here, right? And so even at Live Nation, when I first started 3 years ago on my team, we're called the Ellen Digital team. I was the second female on that team of 15 people, and I was the only Latina. And so again, it was like crazy. Here I am. I have this director role title. And for a second, I did like, it's always, do I belong here?
Yeah.
I'm in a room full of men. I'm 4 seats down from the CEO at Live Nation. He directly sees my work. Right. And so it's validating when you just know you belong there. Like,
Yeah.
I think after a certain amount of time, you realize like I can make decisions. I can show that I'm capable. And I started there when there was another designer there, and I came on very quickly. And it was very validating when my boss was like, yeah, you get more work done faster, right? Than the last designer. And granted, the last designer had been there a long time. So I think there was some fatigue in that, having been there for such a long period of time. But it, again, like, I don't think he realizes like how much that meant to me because of being a Latina in tech, and this is a very specific skill set to be able to design apps and websites, right? Like, it's not for everybody. And um so yeah, it's definitely just getting to the point where you feel comfortable. But again, every scenario is so different that every time you kind of question yourself, why am I here? Why do I belong here? Right? I'm looking around in this, like, even in the accelerator that I just joined, it's only 8 companies got selected, and I'm just like scared. Like, I'm so scared. Like, again, it's like you go through the whole process, but I think you just have to have a little bit in you that always says like, you do belong here.
Yeah. No, for sure. I feel like sometimes we have to keep pushing and motivating ourselves. Like, no, we belong here. Let's not
Yes.
question ourselves. We're here for a reason. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's definitely been an interesting journey because I'll have days where I feel like, why am I here? Am I not even good at my job, right? But again, there always has to be that little person in your head that's like, no, you're just having a tough day. It's okay. You can do this.
yeah, and for our listeners who may be the first in their family to pursue tech or entrepreneurship, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think just not being afraid to take whatever next step. Um I mean, I was very lucky in the sense that like my family did push me to go to college and kind of do the typical route, but of course growing up, I think for me at least, like a lot of the things your parents wanted you to be successful at was like, go be a doctor, go be a lawyer, be a dentist, right? Like those were the things that you could make money at, that people knew of. And so I actually wanted to be an ophthalmologist when I was younger, and like I was a bio um that's what my major was in, and I didn't feel passion for it, right? And so I had to make that decision to like try something else. And I think that's sometimes the scariest step, right? Is like putting your best foot forward to say, "Hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about." And just going and finding different jobs, right? Like product design 8 years ago, people when I would be like, "Yeah, I'm a product designer," people are like, what's that?" You know? Uh what does that even mean? And it's like, "Oh, I design user experiences and user interfaces." And they're like, "Again, what's that?" So these jobs, there's so many of them, but people don't know about them because they're not necessarily like in our faces, right? You have to do a little bit of searching. I think I was lucky in the sense that I had created my first app and I had learned a little bit about the process. But now schools offer like degrees in user experience and product design. So there's so much out there. There's so many resources out there now. And I think like you just have to want it, and you have to push yourself to go try different things and not to put a timeline on yourself. I think again, like culturally, right? Like there's a lot of timelines in the Latin community to be successful or to have kids or get married, at least from my experience and like my friends. And I just think that like I mean, in theory, I went to school for like 8 years. I could have been a doctor. Seriously, with the amount of schooling, but I think I still landed up in a really good career and great income, great benefits, all that good stuff. But it took me, my journey is all over the place. And I just think people have to be willing to take steps and risks and believe in themselves.
Yeah. That's so true. And I'm glad you brought that up too, because that's for me too. Like I had to take different opportunities. Wasn't sure where I was gonna go, but sometimes if you let those opportunities slip away because you're so fixated on just that one thing, you miss out on so many things. You just take the risk, you take the opportunity. If it feels right, it feels right. So take it.
Exactly, exactly. And like as long as you feel good about it, and I think gut feelings are real.
Yeah.
Like gut feelings are so real, good or bad. Like if you have a gut feeling that something is just like not right for you, listen to it.
Yeah.
And then vice versa. If you have a gut feeling like this is the way to go, listen to it, because oftentimes we ignore the gut, but like there's actually a lot of studies on the gut feeling is like directly related to your psychology and like the way you think about things. And so you just have to listen to your body and yourself and do what's right for you.
Yeah. One of our final questions that Angelica Casares, our founder, she always loves asking, and I always love asking it too. It's such a great question. Do you consider yourself a leader? Why or why not?
Oh, great question. I do. Yes, I do. I think, I'm a leader in various ways. I'm a leader at my job because I mean, that's my job. I'm a director, and I have to lead other designers and make decisions for the team. But I also like to believe I'm a leader in the space for A-list, right? As just a Latina who came in and is trying to be disruptive to the sense of like creating a product for minorities, um, and really focusing on the intentionality behind it. I think that's very different than what exists, and really trying to bring people to show them like, hey, you can find love in a different way. Like it doesn't have to be from these products that have existed, but something new for you. And so I'm trying to lead this space, as a bigger conversation in this industry. So I'm constantly putting myself out there, again, going to raise money, because unfortunately, that's just how the world works, right? We need money to make money and get this product into multiple hands. So the idea is just to keep growing A-list so that people can start to have these real connections and hopefully have success stories. And, at the end of the day, like I want to be that person who led this charge, so that I can hear like, yeah, we met on A-list, like some people do, and they're like, oh, we met on Bumble. Like that's my goal. Like the day that I'm out in public and I hear someone say like we met on A-list, like I did my part. And so, yeah, I do feel like a leader in various ways. And I hope to continue doing that and inspiring others just in general. Being like a Latina in tech even is just, it's more common nowadays, but still not. Like I said, now there's 24 people on my team and I'm still the only Latina female. We have 4 females now, so we're growing the team, but still the only Latina, right? And so it's just like continuing to talk about my story and how I got here and hope to inspire others. Like, I hope that is a, form of leadership as well.
No, you already inspired me. So you're doing it good. You're doing it good. So where can our viewers and listeners find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. I have my own personal Instagram, Ashley Explains It All. And then Alyst Dating is also on Instagram, alystdating.com. And then for the app, you can download it on Google Play or the iOS App Store. Just type Alyst and it should be right up front.
It was great talking to you. We had an amazing conversation. I'm looking forward to seeing where this app goes.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed talking to you.
All right. See you later, amigas.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us in this amazing conversation today. If you need more information or resources, as always, they'll be in the description below. Please don't forget to follow us everywhere at Latina Leadership Podcast to stay updated with our latest releases, events, and more. We'll see you next time.